I'm very pleased to be talking today to Catherine Nolan, who is a Commissioner of Learning Disability Services.
Thanks, I'm really pleased to be involved in this project.
Catherine, could you tell us what you think are the main pressures on commissioners of advocacy right now?
I think the overriding pressures are to achieve and to be able to demonstrate value for money, and really what that leads to is a need to be able to show fairly rapid outcomes following short-term interventions, as it would be defined, and so that there isn't a continued need for people to have involvement from health and social care.
And what's problematic about that from your point of view? I mean, some people might listen to that and think, well, okay, that doesn't sound like a problem. Do you think it is?
Well, yeah, I think it is a problem. That's partly because actually we know that for most people with learning disabilities, actually that won't work. That actually most people need a degree of ongoing support. But actually, tangibly, what I think that results in is a tendency then to focus on the statutory kind of advocacy, which is, much more issue specific and has a much more clearly defined beginning, an end, and an outcome.
So what's the consequence of that, do you think?
Well, I think the consequence is that those sorts of services and those sorts of interventions may well address a very specific issue or a specific crisis that somebody's experiencing, but what it won't do in any way at all is help the person develop the capacity to be able to cope in other circumstances. It won't generalise their learning or increase their contacts and their connections that actually is how most of us actually solve problems or issues or survive in this world.
So what do you think needs to change as far as the commissioning of advocacy is concerned? What would help?
Well, I think certainly what would help would be for advocacy organisations, good advocacy organisations and commissioners to collaborate on developing actually what constitutes a good set of outcomes for a more generalised community-powered advocacy approach, as opposed to the statutory and issue-specific work and interventions. And I think if we can develop some outcomes that actually demonstrate how over time you can increase a person's capacity, that actually in itself may well then ultimately reduce somebody's continued and exclusive dependency on health and social care. I mean, none of us completely are without some dependency on the system, but I guess it's about the degree of dependency. But I certainly think that's something that we could do together and would I think warrant a good piece of work regionally or nationally.
Great, thank you.